Hey guys, Tom itself here. I'm here to talk about sniping in Rush. I did a similar video on using an LMG support in Rush that went over very well, and someone suggested to try Recon, and I thought it would be kind of difficult, but figured, hey, why not? Sounds like fun. It can be very satisfying to land a couple nice shots, and people really enjoy sniping for that reason. So you have to be careful. In Battlefield 4, I think the sniping brings out some of the worst parts of the game. And no, I'm not talking about snipers turning into a plague on your squad, though it certainly can be an issue. Well, there's a role for recon, but when your entire squad is sniping, that's just not going to work. Maybe it was just the most recent patch, but I seem to experience far more audio sync issues while sniping than doing anything else. And then there's the fact that landing shots is difficult and seems to have a lot of issues. Whether you want to call it hit detection, netcode, low frame rate, I'm playing on 360 here, input lag, expert evasive maneuvers on the part of your target, like listing lazily to the left, or me just being a noob, call it whatever you want, it just does not seem to work well, and that makes it much less satisfying. On top of that, I could not find a way to make a strong, regular contribution to my team, be it making a push on offense or burning the attacker's tickets on defense. So my suggestion for sniping in Rush is don't. Recon is fine, but I just would not recommend sniping regularly. My KD went up, my score per minute went down, and my win-loss took a hit. But if you want to snipe anyway, here are a few tips that seem to help me at least a little bit. First, you want to be at least 100 meters away. You're going to be sniping, it's a long-range thing, that's where your advantage is. But that 100 meters seems to be about where the snap-to-target aim assist stops working, and you're not going to get that as a sniper, but your targets probably have assault rifles, carbines, and such, and they're going to get that, so you don't need them to have any kind of advantage when they go to return fire. Now, 100 meters isn't too far, and normally the mid-level zoom scopes would be fine. In terms of visually, you can see at that range where the scope needs to go, but it comes down to the thumbsticks not having enough fine precision to be able to line those shots up quickly. And so I would avoid the mid-level zoom scopes unless you know you're going to be in closer than you really should be. Some of you are probably thinking, no, be an aggressive recon, that's a thing, right? I'm going to tell you, no, it's too inconsistent even for the best. You have to be knocking down headshots. That defensive field upgrade, well, where that rifle would normally be a one-hit kill into the upper chest up close, the defensive field upgrade means it's not, and there's no way to tell beforehand what's going to happen, and even afterwards it doesn't tell you what field upgrades the guy had, so you don't know why he didn't die to that shot. Did you miss? Or did he have the defensive perk, the body armor, and that's why he didn't die? And so it's just another activity in frustration. On top of that, you have the suppression effects, and maybe there's some curving of the bullet coming out of your gun and it doesn't go where your sights are pointed, but the one that really bugs me is when a bullet goes past your face and you get suppressed, it causes your sights to jump around, and so it's nearly impossible to line up a shot reliably at long ranges or even close ranges while you're getting suppressed. So as a sniper, when you get in close and they start returning fire, they don't have to hit you, they just get a bullet past your face, your sights jump, and then you lose what should have been a fairly easy gunfight. I honestly wonder if your sights don't jump less when you actually get hit. Another thing making lining up that precise shot difficult is the screen shake, not just from suppression, but from explosions. And you can be in the situation where your screen is shaking all over the place, you have no way to line up this shot, but to the other guy you're just standing still and it's an easy kill for him. So stay out past 100 meters and don't get in the thick of things, otherwise the suppression and explosion will mean lining up those shots is just too difficult. I kind of understand why the snipers like to go out in the boonies now. And with all those things coming together to make precise shots difficult, I would go for just about any body shot I thought had a pretty good chance of hitting, and just stop trying to knock down headshots unless the target was actually just sitting still and I could line it up very carefully. I'd also go for the variable zoom. It adds a lot of nice flexibility, the ability to switch from the 6, 7, or 8x scopes to the 14x, really good. Your other option, really cantered iron sights. You get into a dark environment, and well, the iron sights are already tricky to work with, but then it just becomes impossible to see what's going on. So I'd rather have the more options in the variable zoom than with the lower zoom cantered iron sights. Let's talk about equipment. Got the MAV, though if you're off maving around, you're not really sniping, still it can be pretty useful to your team to know where most of the enemies are. However, at that point they actually have to take advantage of it. And so you get to the other thing the MAV is useful for, and that is helping the other snipers on your team help your team. And yeah, because you guys aren't going to get anything done from up here, just go. Oh, and you can take out enemy equipment too, like mines, or you can destroy mortars. That's a great way to counter them. And then you've got a bunch of equipment that's good for closer range stuff, and as a sniper, it just becomes targets of opportunity. I wasn't going to go tank hunting, but I wanted to come over here to snipe, and well, I found a tank, and I had my C4 with me. I'd put the claymores and motion balls in this category too. The tugs can be useful when you're being really defensive, but again, you're close range at that point. The PLD is mostly useful for spotting targets, getting that orange Dorito to show up. It doesn't seem to enhance your spotting quite like the MAV does, but still, it's useful, and you can go ahead and pick off some targets. You can laser designate things, though it's always questionable if it's actually worth it, and mostly because you have to stand there, and the vehicle knows where you are. Is anybody going to take advantage of it? And then you've got the SOFLAM, which fulfills a similar role, except it'll auto laser designate when it's looking in the right direction. Usually not very useful, but there are a few scenarios, like the first base defending on Hainan Resort can be really good. And at that point, I would go double or nothing on laser designations and take the PLD too. And when engineers start seeing multiple targets laser designated at the same time, they'll probably go ahead and start to take advantage of it. You can also use the SOFLAM as remote spotting, just not to put yourself in danger or to provide multiple lines of sight on an area without having to move around. Then you've got the spawn beacon, the radio beacon. It can be really useful when you're being more aggressive with another weapon and help really push the fight forward, especially get your teammates to spawn in on it. It can be situationally useful, though, because parachuting in, but sometimes that's good, sometimes it just gets you killed, and knowing which way it's going to go is really tricky. As a sniper, the question becomes, do I put this somewhere close to where I want to snipe from so I can keep coming back here? Do I want to try and run around and get it somewhere where my teammates can use it? It'll be a little more useful. Now, if you're going to parachute in, the teammates can kind of go where they want to off of the spawn beacon as they come down. But all in all, I don't know a lot what to do with it a lot, and because I'm so far away and because it would take so much time to put it somewhere where I think it'd be useful for my teammates, I often end up either not taking, or if I have it, I often end up forgetting to deploy my spawn beacon. When it comes to rush, finding a place where I can get that 100+ meters and still be useful to my team is pretty tricky, and I'm also not really looking to just get in a sniping fight with other recons. That seems kind of silly and stupid. I mean, sometimes you need to, but I'd rather be going after the guys who are trying to run around and do other stuff. What it usually comes down to is I don't really look to snipe from one deployment to the other. That's kind of predictable. Instead, I try to come out on a flank and see what I can get done from a slightly unexpected angle at a bit longer range than they'll be ready to deal with. But given what I already said about the difficulties in sniping, and when people are bunched up at a flank, they like to shift around slowly, just a little bit. It's enough to make hitting those shots difficult. You don't know if they're going to keep moving or if they're going to stop, and you have to lead them just a little bit. It's not necessarily travel time. I don't know if there's input delay or what's going on there. I just feel like I would be better off with a light machine gun and a bipod, and sniping really not a thing. This next clip, I don't think I'm embarrassed to put this in here, but I want to show you what happened when I was trying to do this. And I mean, I get in a pretty good position, but I go for headshots and not body shots, and I'm trying to hit them as they shift around. It's just not working. What does DICE need to do? Well, I need less tunnel vision on a lot of these higher magnification scopes. It's excessive, and when I already don't have a whole lot of pixels to work with, it's really hard to see what's going on. My sensitivity is like 28 right now, but these fine corrections are just too difficult to make. Anyway, there's a few thoughts on sniping, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. I don't know if it was useful, but thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.